Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeremy Blossom. I am the founder of TradeStocks.com. Welcome to the charting room. JC Peretz will be here in just a moment. As we all get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage. In my case, I'm drinking pink grapefruit Perrier. My wife and kids got me turned on to that. If you haven't had it, it's absolutely delicious. Hopefully, everybody is taking some time to take a look at what's been happening in the markets. I'm really excited for this evening because I've got a lot of questions for JC. And speak of the devil, here he is, JC.
There he is. What's up, Jay?
Hey, what up, buddy? How we doing?
Vest.
What's that?
I like your vest.
Thank you. I just got back from Montana.
How was that?
It was absolutely fantastic. If anybody knows of that area, I spent the last 5 days with my wife and kids in Paradise Valley, which is in between Livingston and Gardner, and it's right about 20 to 30 miles away from Yellowstone National Forest or National Park. So amazing! I got to go rafting down the Yellowstone River with my kids. Yeah. I saw a bald eagle, JC, in like real life, which I think this is the first time I've ever seen it outside of like a zoo or something. And I saw a bear, which is, I guess, super rare to see, but I saw a bear run across it was in Mammoth, or next to Mammoth, which is like a headquarters there at Yellowstone. And it was running across a geyser. It was really cool. And a bunch of elk. And I didn't know if you know. In fact, I haven't really fact checked this, but maybe you already know the answer to this. So the fastest land mammal is a cheetah, right?
I know now.
Yeah, that's the fastest land mammal is a cheetah, and apparently, let's see, let's take this look at this. Second fastest land animal. So I heard that the second fastest land animal. I don't know if anybody else know this. So people think
Another cat?
No, it's not a cat. So let's see if anybody else knows this before I give the answer. This will be a fun little trivia question. So everybody, welcome. I promise we're going to talk about charts, but before we do that, does anybody know the second?
We're talking charts. I'm leaving.
So they say, and I'll double check. They say it was the antelope. And it is it's called a pronghorn, which is a type of antelope, but this is the fast antelope of North America, and it's called a pronghorn, and it's a type of antelope, and it can run 55 miles per hour. Let's see. Did anybody get it right here? Somebody chat.
JC running around third base. JB, I used to get made fun of so much for my lack of speed. When I played on a really good team when I was younger, a bunch of good teams, and one of them was really, really good. And when we'd be up by a lot and I would get on first, they would always send me to steal just to give the dugout a laugh.
That's funny. And so, yes, maybe when you're running around third base, you're the second fastest. But no, yeah, they were right. So I did just fact checked it. It's the pronghorn, which is the North American antelope. So I saw one of those.
That's cool.
I did not know. My kids had a blast. First family vacation ever that my kids cried when we left.
Wow.
That's how good it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? So they're like, I don't want to leave. I love Montana. Can we live here?
You don't have to front like you were crying too.
Of course. Yeah, bro. I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. And they had the least amount of COVID, like second least, I guess, that area in the country. So
really?
Yeah. It's like, I mean, they're already quarantining themselves, right? They live, miles
True.
from each other and but epic trip. Thanks so much for asking. Looks like we got a good turnout tonight. Thank you so much, everybody. If you wouldn't mind, let us know if we sound okay. Let us know where you're from. I'm coming at you from Laguna Beach, California. JC, where are you coming from?
I am from beautiful Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. East Coast, back on the East Coast. Jay, I miss California, but it's been a good 6 months being back. I mean, it's been a little bit unusual, to say the least. But when I was living that normal life, it felt like I never left.
Yes. Well, and you're also entering into one of the best times to be in the East Coast, which is the summertime. So you're getting into the glory part of the year.
Chianti Classico we're going with tonight.
That was going to be my next question. What are you drinking? Tell me where it's from. Tell me a little bit about it. For those of you who don't know, JC is a sommelier. So
Jeremy's like, JC, we need to do these videos. But if it's 8 o'clock over here, we're drinking a little vino, we're winding down the day. I've already gone on my run and worked out and done all my charting. Like, this is fun.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'll have a bottle, open. This is actually open from yesterday. So this is a Chianti Classico. It's one of the first 4 DOCGs given in Italy. So this is like OG, if you will, high quality wine in Italy. Chianti Classico, as the name says, is just classic Sangiovese. From Tuscany, particularly in the Chianti Classico region. You're going to get a nice little garnet tint there if you got a little age, it's going to be a medium body, high tannin, high acid wine. I mean, if you got some spaghetti and meatballs or something like that, something with sauce, the high acidity of the Sangiovese is going to go so well with that tomato sauce. Some basil, some fresh mozzarella. I mean, Chianti Classico with that stuff, can't go wrong.
Oh man, that sounds awesome, man. It's been, I'm still on my sober streak, bro. So it's 6.5 months strong here.
Wow.
Started off as a month. Yeah, I should have taken my friends up on some bets because they didn't think I'd even make it 30 days. If I would have bet them on 6 months, I'd be like 10 grand richer right now. Yeah, but I'm telling you, when I was in Montana, we had some amazing elk, and I've heard some good things about some wine my buddy had brought out for the pairing, and I was this close to having some, but I did good. I refrained. So all right, so we got some people here from New York, so very close to you. We got Sumter, South Carolina, Pasadena, Maryland, Savannah, Georgia. They can hear us loud and clear. Oh, we even got some. Oh, there he is. They got the Florida right there. Miami Floridians.
You know who the Miami Floridians are?
I have no clue. Wait, let me guess. Miami Floridians, baseball team. What is that? No, what is that? Is that Frisbee? It's basketball.
Miami Floridians were an ABA team in the early 70s.
I like that, dude. Where did you get that shirt from?
I'm a big sports fan, so I got all sorts of random stuff. I actually, on eBay for $11, I got a 1983 Miami Hurricanes National Championship t-shirt. It's a small, so I can't wear it, but it's still cool for $10 or $9, whatever I got it.
Epic. Yeah. There are some buys like that you look back and you're like, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. I've got one when the Cavs won, because I'm obviously from Cleveland. So I know that'll be fun to look back at when my son's my age. So we got Vegas, we got Wisconsin, another Vegas, San Jose.
Wisconsin's awesome. I was just there.
What for?
I went to Lambeau football game.
Oh, sweet.
Dude,
that's a bucket item right there.
Totally. My father and I, we have been, wanting to go there my whole life, certainly his as well. He grew up a big Green Bay fan, growing up in the 60s. They were awesome, right? So they were playing the Dolphins. So my dad and I were like, we got to go.
Yeah, you got to go. Got to look at it. You got to go. Yeah, how do you not? And we got Los Angeles. You're close to me. I'm down here in Laguna Beach, so that's great. Got some more people from the West Coast. Got somebody saying "Go Packers." All right, yeah, it is getting toasty. So we got the guy Jeff from Vegas. It's about that time where my brain starts to think, why, and I know there's a lot of great things about Vegas. So I'm not knocking the city, but like that gets hot. Anyway, all right, we got some charts to go through. I have some questions for you. I know you've got some answers, JC, but tell me what's good in the world, what's not good in the world. I see a lot of green today, specifically, in all the major indices. I even got it across energies. I only have utilities down, and natural gas down. South Korea's down, but for the most part, I got a lot of green. What do you see?
Did you just throw out a South Korea is down? Did that?
The emerging markets, South Korea is, it's down like 0.2%.
You've been hanging around with me and Bruni too much.
Dude, you guys, I'm telling you, I love doing these. This is like one of my favorite things to do during the week.
Bruni just got a big promotion. So Bruni's now senior technical analyst.
Wow.
Charts, big promotion.
Yay, congrats, Bruni.
Yeah, Bruni's absolutely killing it.
That guy's smart.
Super smart. Kidding me? Great guy too. Works really hard. And just a good guy. Like, I mean, he's the heart and soul of our firm. Like, he's a living, breathing, sort of like everything we stand for is Bruni in a nutshell. So like, he's like our nerdy mascot.
Yeah, he really is. But he's also just a super nice, smart dude who loves.
He's head of international equities and FIC, so fixed income commodities and currencies. So like, he's throwing around like cardamom futures and like all sorts of ridiculous things. And so kudos to Bruni. I want to show you.
Congrats, Bruni.
Yeah, big ups to Bruni. This is what I got, Jeremy, and this is the chart that I was looking at yesterday. Yesterday, for those listening after this, was Wednesday, the 24th, when stocks sold off throughout the day, maybe came back a little bit in the afternoon, but definitely under pressure, a risk-off day, so to speak. And I'm like, okay, when you see some selling coming in, it's only natural to wonder, be like, wow, is this the start of the next big crash, right? That's what everybody wants to know. Every downtick, everybody wants to know if this is it. What's that show in the old days? The big one. This is the big one, So for me, wondering if this is the big one or just a normal correction, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what will the market look like in the scenario where this is the big one? We do need to raise cash and we got it, right? That's what I want to know. What do we need to see to make that determination? Right? And how close are we to that?
Yeah.
Those are the things we're always wondering. Well, I got a great one. Financials at 23. XLF is the financial sector index by Standard & Poor's. And I was telling Itai that the other day. He's like, wait a minute. Did you just call it Standard & Poor's? So he's busting my balls. But yeah, the Standard & Poor's Financials Index 23, the ETF anyway, XLF, which tracks that index. $23. Those were the highs in April. If we lose 23, and this is what I'm thinking yesterday, if we lose 23, shit could hit the fan, right? But if this is just a normal correction within an ongoing uptrend, that former resistance, if you will, right here, right? That former resistance in April at 23 should turn into support, right? That's what we call polarity. But if it does not and it breaks, it would confirm the divergence we have in relative strength, which, quite frankly, would not be evidence of a strong uptrend if financials are falling apart. Because if you recall, one of the reasons I should say that we were so bearish equities in early February before any virus or before any market crashes was because regional banks were making new all-time relative lows. So the financials, as they say, like dance with the girl that brought you to the dance or whatever, brought you to the date. Well, financials saved us, right? So shouldn't we continue to use that as a barometer? I think so. And so anyway, so that's yesterday. And then I'm thinking to myself, as we come in today, stocks were a little bit under pressure in the pre-market. I'm like, all right, so this is the time, right? If the buyers are going to step in, now would be that time. And what do you know? They stepped in, which is a classic characteristic of an uptrend, of a bull market, of a healthy market environment, of sector rotation, of BTFD, if you will. Like that whole thing, the fact that they came in today and bought financials, like that's in that category, not end of the world category, right? So I think what happened in bank stocks today was serious. And one day doesn't make a trend, and you're not going to change your whole perspective because of one day. But I will say that today, Thursday, the 25th of June, 2020, the year of our Lord, if we get that follow through the end of the week into tomorrow, and we go into the weekend strong, I mean, we can get a serious ripper this summer, and which is great because we're buying stocks. So I'm all for it.
Right. That's exactly what we want to see. I was just about to call you out until you gave that last reference. You can't judge an entire year based off of one day's worth of trading. So I'm glad that you clarified that because, I'm holding my breath personally. I think tomorrow would make me feel a lot better going into the weekend, especially with the huge uptick we're seeing in COVID cases, the fear that's kind of, surrounding that. That would make me feel a lot better as well, because today was a very, very big day. I was watching it very, very closely. A lot of people have been on the other side of this calling for a parabolic price move to be prepared for that. And that we're in this next phase that we're going to see a big contraction. We're going to see a lot of cash being raised, was what the market was kind of shaping up to be. But with this move today, that's kind of saying I'm seeing a lot of green. I was not. I wish I could have said I was looking at XLF. I was not, but that is awesome. That is exactly. I remember you telling me back in February why you're making the moves that you were. And
I
for
thought
those
you
of you,
opened my emails, Jeremy. I guess you don't open my emails.
I don't know. I was on vacation. I was in Montana. I was in Montana, but I do. In fact, actually, one of the things I'm going to be talking about is one of the things that you recommended in your emails. So one of the questions I have. But so this is good. And then, okay, so that's what's happening now. We see this. Anybody have any questions on that? Because I feel like this is a really cool opportunity from a learning curve. So like Mark B, as you were talking about this, was saying, if the financials show weakness and XLF closes below 23, then open positions in SKF. So
SKF still exists?
That's what I was just going to look up. Ultra shorts. Oh, it's an
Dude, let me tell you a little story about SKF, Jeremy. I know how much you love my stories that I whip out of left field.
I do, actually. They're really good.
You know how I'm OG? I'm OG because in 2008, we got very aggressively short the bank stocks after, I think it was on January the 7th of 2008, as a matter of fact. And the way that we got short banks was by buying SKF. And the reason why we were buying SKF, the double short financials ETF, was because the triples didn't exist yet, right? So this leveraged ETF thing was a brand new phenomenon. And I'm running around my office flipping the book long SKF, and everybody thinks I'm bananas, like nuts. Like, who is this kid? I mean, I was 26, something like that. I don't know, 27. And I am like, I'm gloom and doom, telling all my clients, the world's coming to an end, sell everything, buy SKF. And this was so new that I would talk to clients, and then the market started falling apart. And my clients would be like, JC, I need to raise cash. I can't be in the market. I'm like, dude, we own the double short bank stocks. Your account's up like 50% in the last 6 months. Like they couldn't understand how we own something that's going up as the market's falling apart. Like, this was a new concept. But what is hilarious is that eventually, I think later on in 08, as a matter of fact, they built what is now referred to as the FAS train, right? That's what the kids call it. So you got the FAS and the FAZ, right? So you got the FAS train that you can ride in both directions.
Cool.
Yeah. So that is. And that's the one that gets all the volume. And I thought SKF was just done at this point, but apparently they're saying there's a chance, Jeremy.
Someone out there has got this, dude. That's really cool. Mark, maybe Mark brought it up. Mark, were did you follow JC back in 08? Is that why you brought it up? But really, really cool story.
So the people that really know me have heard me tell it in the past. JB reads all the stuff I know. He may have known that story.
Yeah. So maybe that'd be like be interesting. Mark, let us know. And then, all right. So then, so basically you're saying, okay, sure. It exists. And Mark's saying, thanks for the story, JC. So
I think if we're above 23 so here's a great lesson. And what I like about these things is that we look at stocks and we talk about the market and we have ideas, but there's great lessons, right? And the questions kind of like make me remind the lessons. These leveraged ETFs are vehicles in which to execute a trade. And the truth is, like, I'm here like laughing and joking that I was buying SKF in 2008. In hindsight, that's stupid because you're getting killed on the resetting every day on those leveraged ETFs. So you could be right and still lose money mathematically. Yeah. So the truth is these are not, they're for day trading is really what they are. You hold it for more than a few days and you're really taking a hit on that daily rebalancing. So just keep that in mind for sure. But with that being said, whenever we do any analysis, we analyze the asset itself, not the derivatives. So in other words, we're not doing technical analysis on a double leveraged ETF for an index, whether it be financials or gold or whatever it is. We don't even look at those charts. We're simply looking at the assets in which the underlying, if you will, that the ETF or whatever it is that you're doing, futures contract, whatever it is trying to track, right?
Yes, and that's why if some people brought up questions about VIX, that's why we don't look at technical analysis on VIX because it's right. It's a byproduct of something. So good point to bring up for everybody, and especially people who are new here. We love to talk about all the things that are happening in the markets. One of the things that we don't talk about are some of the offshoots or anything that has really, really low volume. So some people call them penny stocks, pink sheet stocks, things like that. They're just, in our opinion, not safe. And this is for educational purposes. So
Jeremy, you're not a penny stock millionaire?
I'm not. I wish I was. There was this one stock I thought was going to go to the moon. I went all in. No, I'm kidding. No, we really want to make sure that when we're talking about things where, JC is sought after by every single major institution, bank, for his advice. And so he follows a lot of what the big money does and the strategies and tactics that he uses. And anything outside of your really highly liquid markets falls too much in this speculative category and outside of our comfort zone. So just kind of like a caveat as we're throwing out ticker symbols tonight, and we have got a great turnout. I wanted to mention that.
I want to mention something. So I got one. So we are talking about following big money. And we do follow big money. A lot of people do. But one of the new things we're doing is that we're following little money. And that's working out really, really well. I don't know. So for those of you, we're doing a lot of work. Robinhood has an open, I'm not going to pretend to know the proper nomenclature, but open source, open really API, cool. Something like that.
Super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The guys that work on my team that are way smarter than I am, that know what all these things are, get me what I need that I need at the end. And what do I need at the end? I get a heads up when a bunch of lunatics on their iPhones are buying a lot of a specific stock. And that works in both directions. Number one, when you see a bubble, you better go buy it, right? Because a lot of money is made in bubbles, right? Everyone always worries about the end of the bubble. Don't worry about the end of the bubble. The meat and potatoes in the middle, that's what you want to be worried about. So if you see a bubble, run to it. Okay? Yeah. Because and traditionally, these bubbles last longer than most people, right? Because markets can stay irrational longer than you can remain solvent, right? So you see a bubble, go. So that's number one. When we see a bubble, we go. And number two, there's evidence, using our technical tools that can point out if and when we are near that top, or I should say, not so much near the top, but an area where where if it is going to top, this would be a perfectly logical place for it to happen. And we can then enter short. And more importantly, know immediately if we are wrong, right? So it sets up very favorable risk versus reward opportunities on the short side and trend following opportunities on the long side. I mean, if you can't find value from this data set, I don't know, you're not trying hard enough.
Right.
Oh, we put out 2 ideas this week. One of them was Plug, which is basically doubled in value this week, which is unbelievable. And then Workhorse Group, which is also almost doubled in price this week. So these things are moving. I don't know what either one of them do. That's a true story.
Do you care?
I care what sector they're in, you know, I'd be lying to you if I say that didn't matter. So like, you know, if it's a software stock, I'd like to know that. If it's an energy stock, I'd like to know that. And for a couple of reasons. Number one, if a stock is making new highs and it's attracting me, and then I'm like, this is an energy stock, right? Like there's amazing relative strength there that I can point to and be like, whoa, something's going on in this stock. The rest of energy is getting killed and this thing's shining, something's up. So that is important information to me. And then also, oh, this is a software stock. Oh, yeah, makes sense. Oh, this is social media stock. Oh, yeah, duh, makes sense. Oh, this is a Chinese internet stock. Yeah, all right, that sounds about right. You know, because that's what the charts look like or whatever the case may be. So I'm interested in the area that it's in for a few reasons. Number one, there you go. Mark saying plug energy hydrogen. All right, how about that, huh? But that's really why I care, more so for that could be information I could use to go find other names, for example, right? So yeah, it might not just be information for this, but kind of maybe open my mind, be like, and that's how I have found certain things, because I'll be like, man, all these mobile payment stocks are breaking out. Maybe there's a mobile payments index, and sure enough, there is. Oh, I wonder what the components of that mobile payments index are. Wow, here's a cool list of stocks. Let's start ripping through charts. Wow, look at this name. I've never heard this in my life, but we're buying it. You know what I mean? So like that's sort of the way the process works. I can show you a couple of these charts just so you could see. So here's the plug, right? So just breaking out of a beautiful little base here, nice uptrend. I mean, this is as classic as it gets, heading towards that 830 level. And then here's Workhorse going up towards 12. Those are those former highs in 2016. That's where I think we're going. You know, a couple of names that stood out for sure on our on this week's list. Let me see if I can get you the.
So yeah, let me as you're pulling that up, I'll let everybody know what you're doing. So what we talked about last week, and this is so genius. Yes, JC mentioned that he loves to follow big money, but he also said that he likes to follow small money. And so there is a report that allows you to track where Robinhood traders are, where most of the Robinhood traders own, you know, which stocks they own, which shares they own, of what company or asset. And so you can get this list. And so JC's using this list and then breaking down the technical analysis and basically following the small money and seeing it. So he is finding, like Plug, these amazing opportunities where, all right, a bunch of money is moving in this direction. Let's check it out. So then he approaches that particular stock with his top-down approach, which is what he's going to show you right here. So we're calling it the Under the Hood Watch List, which is a fantastic name.
Or Robin the Hood. You like that one? That was
Robin the Hood. Yeah, that's good.
So this is how it started, right? We started getting just the easy data that anybody can get, and sort of just kind of like using it as like an idea generator. This is this week's, these are the biggest week over week changes in the amount of Robinhood accounts that own these stocks. So there's just interest, right? And for us, we don't really care why there's interest. We just care that there's interest. I'm sure it's something. Maybe they have some drug that's going to cure cancer, or the coronavirus, or some new missile, or some new cool car or truck, or, you know, whatever, some software, some cool dating service. I mean, the truth is, I don't really care what it is, but the people buying it, they're the ones doing the homework. They're going out and finding these names. They're finding it for us. Hello? Yeah. They're doing all the work for us. So we started by just getting the easy data that anybody can get. And then because our coders are so good, like Jeremy, man, like you and I have to catch up. Like we're building some really cool tools. On Monday, I think I'm going to have something I can show you, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Dude, you don't even know. Like this has moved a lot faster than I thought. I definitely underestimated the shit out of my coders, and I apologize for that, but happy to be proven wrong in this case. Like they're moving and shaking and building like amazing things. I don't know, I lit a fire under us or something, but We're
Yeah,
getting
well,
stuff.
it's a lightning in a bottle idea, and I think everybody gets it. And so I know our team's really excited on our end. Brian actually is, I think he's still sticking around so that we can record a lot of those stuff that we need to record for this. So we're all in all. I mean, it's great, dude. It's a fantastic thing. It makes a lot of sense. And what you've done with it, taking that and then using your top down approach to sift through, okay, this is you giving us a target, and now let's go in there and pick out the exact ones that we want to. It's like a fish in a barrel. So really cool.
The truth is, maybe half the names on there are names we're looking at anyway, right? So like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Ford, Disney, Snapchat, Neo, Microsoft, Nikola, like these are GE, like Tops. I mean, these are just all names that we're looking at. Coca-Cola, Bank of America, Alibaba, JD.com. Like you guys, Spotify, you guys that have been following me know that these are a lot of these names we talk about anyway, but it's the others, right? It's the ones that it's like, what is Turquoise Acquisition Corp? What the hell is that? What is Global Star? I don't know what that is. And then eventually these names become household names, right? Like eventually everybody knows what. I remember being at a mall with my dad and there was a Tesla like in the mall. First of all, like I was in a mall, so that just goes to show you how long ago it was. And I'm with my dad. I'm like, Dad, look at Tesla. How cool is that? I think it may have been the first time I ever saw a Tesla actually.
Oh, cool.
And he's like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, it's a car. It's an electric car, Dad. Stock, everyone's talking about it. Elon Musk. No? He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I remember that.
No,
My dad's so dumb. He doesn't know anything.
So let's take Plug for an example, if you don't mind. So it's under the energy sector. How did you come and using your approach to it? Did you go to XLE, the ETF and start looking at that and then kind of get down further? Can you break that down for me? I know it's an impromptu thing, but I'd love to just kind of where did you get into that specific, I know that they found it for you, but then how did you validate that would be a good buy?
Listen, man, if we're not using the robots, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Use the robots. The robots can give you good info. So for me, I'm an artist. And all you California cats, particularly in Northern California, are always trying to turn my art into a science. They're like, JC, the Indian guys in Silicon Valley, or, some of my Jewish venture capital friends. It doesn't matter the culture. It's more the geographical location. And it's like, JC, how do you look at 5,000 charts a week? There has to be a better way. I'm going to build it for you. This is what I hear. I've been hearing this forever. And the truth is that there's no robot that can replicate me putting on, some 90s hip hop or some Rolling Stones or, David Bowie and just ripping through a couple of thousand charts after lunch. I'm sorry. The robot is not the robot. Why do you think that you're always having to prove that you're not a robot on your phone? Click the ones with fire hydrants. Click the ones with bridges.
Sure, right.
Click the ones with bicycles.
What is 2 + 2 equal? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Because when the robots are put in a situation that they have to think and are just not programmed to do things, they can't do that. That's where we come in. So to think that you could just build a robot that's going to make you money is, just the whole concept alone is lunacy. You need a human element. Hello. So, yeah. But that doesn't mean that we don't want the robots, right? We want the robots. So in this case, we've got a robot feeding us tickers, right? Not Davey, respectfully, I love Barstool and Davey J, so I'm not hating, but it's not like Davey J Trader, jokingly picking up, Scrabble pieces and putting them together to come up with ticker symbols to buy. This is a real machine giving us those Scrabble pieces. This is really cool.
That's right. Yeah.
And then that's when we go to work. So we have, okay, now we got an extra 20, 25 names that we weren't looking at or not looking at closely. And now we're more focused on that. And then, what else the robots can do? Well, my coders are telling the robots to do is then overlay a layer of short interest. So now we have Robinhood interest. We have short interest. We can then filter by market capitalization to make sure that the stocks are big enough for us to participate in. We can eliminate penny stocks, eliminate ETFs, eliminate leveraged ETFs and just stick to equities. We can eliminate ADRs and just stick to US equities if you want. Like there's so many things that my guys are working on where it's like, they're like, overwhelmed. But the bottom line is the robots give us the information we want so that we can then start to go to work. But we're, to the JB just said, we're actually starting our work at third base because all that homework's already been done. Now we got only 25 stocks to look at. Chances are you're going to find a good long, a good short, few good longs, few good shorts. And then depending on what type of market environment are we in, which is all that other work that we're doing, do we want to look for shorts or do we want to look for longs? Like we have a bias going in.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really, really powerful having that type of an insight. And you're right. All of this is a publicly available information. It's just how are you using and leveraging that information? That's what's so magical about all this stuff. And then again, you've got the JC touch that you're adding to this really, really finite group of people. A little sprinkle. Yeah, what's that guy that like, you're doing that as well. So, all right, epic, man. I'm excited about that. Really cool to hear that background. Congrats on everyone that is is a member of your service who took advantage of those trades. Congrats, and congrats to you as well, JC.
Well, thank you. I'm pretty convinced based on the conversation I had today with the fellas that this is just the beginning.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so let's go. Let's get into it. So what do you got for us today? I know that you're going to have some stocks that you want to get into, and I've got some questions. So
technology.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So this is technology on a relative basis. Technology represents a quarter of the entire S&P 500. So one out of every, I shouldn't say one out of every 4 stocks because it doesn't really work that way. But in terms of market capitalization, together, technology is 25%. And by the way, technology is 25% of the S&P 500, and that doesn't include Google or Facebook or Amazon. None of those stocks are in the technology sector. So keep that in mind. And even still, here's technology relative to the S&P 500, still nowhere near those 2000 highs. So to me, this is sort of like, you think this is a bubble? This is a bubble, and we're about halfway there. So if you think this is a bubble, I think you need to maybe take a step back, right? So if you look at it this way, what does that look like? Does that look like a bubble?
Nope.
Making new highs, and then you zoom out and you realize that that's really nothing. So I think it just really just reiterates, whenever in doubt, zoom out, I think is what it is. So then what are we looking for? So here's the S&P 500, and then we're looking at the list of new 21-day highs. And look at this breadth thrust a few weeks ago where we got actually twice the amount of new 21-day highs than we did in January. So think about that. So that's interesting to note. Traditionally, these breadth thrusts are positive for the market. So notice in 2014, when we got a spike in stocks showing bullish momentum characteristics, stocks proceeded to go up from there. When we got a spike in early 2018, stocks proceeded to go up from there. When we got a spike in early 2019, when we got a spike rate, they proceeded to go up. So this breadth thrust, is it like the other times, right? Something we're looking at. And then now we're looking at the overbought conditions. So traditionally, these percentage of stocks that are overbought, declining is evidence of weakness. It's evidence of deterioration of breadth. So what are we looking for? We are looking for expansion. We're looking for more stocks making new 21-day highs, more stocks making new 63-day highs, more sectors making those highs because, and the reason that's so important, Jeremy, is because the question is this dip getting bought or is it not? So here are the dips, right? We had a 7.3. This is the S&P 1500. So for those of you who are unaware, the S&P, the Standard & Poor's, Itai, the Standard & Poor's 1500 includes the S&P 500 large cap stocks, the S&P 600 small cap stocks, and the S&P mid cap 400 stocks. So I'm not so great at math, but that's 1,500 stocks, even though it's definitely not 1,500 stocks. It's like 1,504 or something like that. Because you got 2 Berkshire Hathaways, you got 2 Googles, right? I think you got 2 Comcast still. I'm not 100% sure how that works. All right, so you had a 7.3% decline, a 7% decline in May, and then another 8% decline last month. Is this dip getting bought like the others? That's really the question. And I think the financials chart that I showed you, I think will go a long way in giving us evidence of whether or not it's going to continue to be bought like it did today, Thursday, the 25th of June, definitely got bought. And if we get follow through moving forward, financials stay above 23. Those are all characteristics. Those are all things that should happen in an environment that we are being rewarded for buying stocks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well said. Question for you, going back to the XLK. So on that side, what about looking at it just by itself and not in comparison to the S&P 500? Because if you do look at the XLK by itself, we are well past the highs it made back in 2000. What was just for my sake, I was pulling that up and just kind of curious.
I will show you the best XLK chart you ever seen in your life.
And this is best when people are participating. So all of you that are watching this from your home office, wherever you're at in the living room, ask these types of questions too. So by all means, we'll try to get to them. Sometimes we can't. We're on a good topic, or we're going right past it. But if you got these same questions I have, I try to do the best I can. I kind of take your guys' role on this. Like if every one of you had a mic, what kind of questions? I try to think about those things. And a lot of them are just my own, questions. Sometimes my own naiveness. Sometimes like I don't always agree with JC. I might have my own different opinions on stuff. So by all means, please ask your questions.
Yeah, you don't agree? What are you going to agree on?
Oh, I know. I do. I only thing I'm a little hesitant on is this next. This is really crucial right now.
How am I funny, huh? How am I funny? Funny how?
Yeah. What do you mean funny?
How am I funny?
Oh, you're just funny, honey. What do you mean?
Like,
Funny.
Funny, haha. Like a clown.
Made me laugh.
Am I here to amuse you? All right, I got the chart for you. Ready?
Yep.
So I'm gonna take you back in time. To give you a little history lesson here. I'm going to take you back in time to February the 1st of 2020, when I put out a pretty obnoxious headline. Ancient Mathematics says sell tech stocks. This is February 1st of this year. And the reason was because technology hit our target. And what do we do when things hit our target? We get the hell out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Cash or checks.
Now it's someone else's problem, right? I feel like a grandparent, like you give the kid back to the parents. Here you go. I had my fun. Now you can take it, right? Yep. It's kind of like that. So anyway, I'm like, all right. And listen, it wasn't just because of this chart. Bonds were breaking out. We were already bearish stocks. So like for us, selling technology and a bearish thesis for equities is like, pretty much goes hand in hand. In a similar way that we are bullish equities as a whole, and we're bullish technology now also. So it's the same thing. So, okay, so here's February 1st. Technology is literally hitting our target. When technology stocks broke out finally above their March 2000 highs, our target was just under $100 in the index. Why? Because that's the 161.8% extension of the entire decline from the March highs down to the October lows of 2002. So our target was hit. See ya. Okay, fine. So then what happened? The market crashed from there, as we're all well aware.
Yep.
Whoops. Right? So the market crashes, we all well aware. And then came back. All the way back. So if we zoom in, this is that level. And we are now above that level. So if we're above $99 in the XLK and we're not long stocks, I think it's only because we're either looking at this chart blindfolded or upside down. It's got to be one of the two.
All right. Point made. Point made. Well said.
You want me to tell it like it is? You want me front?
I love it, dude. I love it. So, all right, that's great, man. I think it makes a lot of sense to me. So I had to ask. I may be frozen. Can you still hear me, JC?
Oh, I hear you loud and clear. You look good. Looking
All
good.
Right. All right, good.
You got the Longhorn in the back. I got a basketball. I'd like to see you on a basketball court. You got hoop skills?
Dude, you don't. I mean, just put some extra ankle guards on, bro, because.
Yeah, you got handle.
You know, I used to. I used to. I actually. There's like 3 divisions here. I was in the Newport Beach Rec League, and we won the league in our division. In fact, it was kind of funny. They would like get angry with us every year because we'd come back and they wanted us to advance to the next level of this system that they had there, and we just refused to do it because we were winning so often. But it was the lowest level, so there's that.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure. It was definitely like there was the C. There was a C, B, and A, and the B had some pretty good teams on it and some former Division I guys, and we're like, yeah.
Can you make me a promise, Jeremy?
Yes.
You know those basketball courts in Laguna, like when you make that curve?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Can we go play there? I've always wanted to play there.
Oh yeah, man, 100%. Yes.
Done.
All right, good. We'll definitely do that. We'll bring Bryce can hoop it up from my office as well.
Every time I drive by there, which I wish was more often, obviously, I'm like, man, this is like the nicest basketball court I've ever seen. You should see the hoods we used to play in New York City, because I used to live in a nice neighborhood. Not a lot of great basketball players there. So I would go over to Hell's Kitchen on my bicycle and, try not to get shot in between games. But we had some killer hoops. It used to be one of those Fresh Prince of Bel-Air courts where point lines meet at half court.
It's got a chain link fence all around and whatever. Yeah, man. I didn't know that you like to play ball. I love it too, man. In fact, actually, right before the COVID, there was a new league starting up that I was going to join. With some of my friends again. We had been out of it for a while, and all of us were like, yeah, when you have kids, I've got my 2 kids. My son just turned 5, so it's a little easier for me to get away at night to play. So, but then COVID happened, and I'm not playing. But I love it, dude. It's fun. I actually have got some battle wounds from getting my face split open from elbows playing along the years. Yeah, Orange County, it's really rough out here.
It is Orange County. Those Laguna Beach hoods are like.
Man, yeah, exactly. A lot of smack talking. They followed up for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, there is for another dime. I'll tell you about a really funny, silly story of a basketball pickup game I played at an elementary school in Corona Del Mar. So those of you familiar with Orange County, it is nothing but multi-million-dollar houses everywhere. And what this guy did, it was really funny. Anyway, but let's get back to some charts. That's what everyone's here to talk about. So thank you so much for the XLK analogy. Really cool that you pulled that out of your bag from a real blog article that you wrote earlier this year. So it makes for clarifying that. What else do you got for us?
I know it's coming.
I know, man, because that's where my questions are aligning here. So I definitely want to check out those.
For me, 31 on GDX has been the level forever. Right? This was resistance at the end of 2013. It was resistance again in 2016. It was resistance again at the end of last year. Resistance again earlier this year. And the way I learned it, and I've certainly observed over many years, is that the more times the level is tested, the higher the likelihood that it breaks. Yeah. So our bet was that it was going to break. It did break. And now the question is this a successful retest of that breakout, or is this a nasty whipsaw and now GDX and gold miners are going to completely fall apart? That's the question.
Right.
And it's a valid question. And as usual, as you like to comment, that I have an if then.
Yes, that's right. I figured you would.
If the GDX is above 31, which I've been saying forever, because that's the reason we weren't buying GDX, is because we were below 31. So if we're going to be, if GDX is above 31, I think we got to be long gold miners as a group, looking for gold mining stocks to buy. If we lose 31, we get back below the 2016 highs and break back below 31, then that wasn't it. And gold miners are not something we want to own.
So would you look at GLD at all in any of your analysis to say that GDX could go higher, or vice versa? Would you look at GDX to try to help you make a decision on GLD, or no?
I will, when we're talking about gold, and I lost your video, Jeremy, but
Okay.
when you're looking at gold, to not look at the gold miners, I think is foolish. If you're looking at gold miners, to not look at gold is foolish. And, bringing silver into that conversation and bringing junior miners into that conversation, like all of that is part of the same theme. If there's real risk appetite for precious metals, gold miners are probably going to do really well. And in fact, they'll probably outperform the metal itself. The junior gold miners will probably outperform the larger cap gold miners because it's more of a more aggressive evidence of risk appetite. They're not buying the safer conservative gold miners. They're buying the pieces of crap, the little guys that may strike gold one day in South Africa or Chile or something, some random mine that probably doesn't even exist. But not the point, because enough people believe that it could potentially exist. And that's really all it takes. So there's real risk appetite for the precious metal space. We tend to see them rise in unison. We tend to see silver also participate, which just recently finally got going because gold had really been the only performer there in that space, and silver had not. Now silver's making its moves.
Great. And I apologize about my video feed, everyone. I am having some technical difficulties. I'm getting the spinning wheel of death here on my Zoom application using my MacBook. So as long as you can hear me, you're going to have to take us home here, JC. I apologize. But
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JC Show. And here at the JC Show, we talk about charts.
So that does interest. And another thing too, I know a lot of people would have this question, but just to clarify, the S&P 500, people are assuming that because gold and silver are moving, that the S&P 500 is going to come down or come off, and that doesn't necessarily mean the case. In fact, both have and probably will go up. So I am in the same camp that you are, maybe a little bit more hesitant on the upside. On the equity side, a little bit more on the gold side, but I do believe that ultimately both can and will rise. So
I'll take it back to 2016, Jay. In 2016, stocks ripped. Stocks bottomed in January. Man, how good is my memory? I want to say January 23rd that year, maybe January 16th. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Bottomed around the middle of January. That's when the most amount of stocks bottom in the S&P, European stocks and Japanese stocks retested those lows, and it was more of a double bottom, but the strongest stocks bottomed in January. The most amount of stocks bottomed in January as well. So that was the bottom. And it was also the bottom in gold miners. In fact, gold miners had just bottomed maybe 2 weeks earlier. In fact, speaking of relative strength, and gold miners, I think, doubled. The junior gold miners, I think, tripled. And the S&P 500 absolutely ripped after bottoming after that 2015 debacle. But I guess we lost Jeremy. But here's what we're going to do. We've got some very exciting things happening. We are growing fast, and we've been able to take the resources that we've gotten over the years from, whether it be our institutional clients that like to pay big bucks, or whether it be, a course that we sold or whatever it is. But we've then taken those resources and reinvested it into our team and our building cool tools. And I got to tell you, I think I did a pretty good job of bringing in the right guys, because these guys are building some cool stuff. And I'm loving it. So I can't wait to show it off. Can't wait. I'm going to take all the credit for it too.
Well, I don't know if you can see me, but hopefully you can hear me. You should
Yeah.
take all the credit for it because it is actually amazing, and we can't wait. So we're at Trade Stocks going to be really helping you promote that and push that out to the world because they need to see it. I know our team's really excited about it. The moment you told us, we knew that you had a home run on your hands. So everybody, look out for that. This is getting really cool. The trade signals that you've already come up with from this are awesome and
Yeah.
make a big impact. So.
Totally.
Yeah, great, man. All right. Well, I literally cannot do anything. I can only add my audio commentary. So if anybody's got any questions, you can check that, JC. But we've got about 5 minutes left here of the charting room. What else did you want to cover that we haven't covered so far?
I think something important to just kind of discuss is what we're looking for. Just reiterate what we're looking for moving forward. Reiterate where we are. On Tuesday, we're going to get new monthly charts, which I love because it forces you, because there's only one data point every month. It forces you to kind of take a step back and see what's happened. By the way, Jeremy, I don't know if you're planning on like taking your shirt off and all these stuff, but you're on camera.
Oh,
so
good.
I don't know how much you want to embarrass yourself.
I was just about to. So thank you for letting me know. It's getting 6 o'clock. And so if you guys, that was my time. So I'm literally trying to text my tech support right now and say, hey, what's going on? So maybe they're getting things working. So great.
Well, beautiful. I mean, listen, like I said, we're in an uptrend in stocks. Are we or are we not being rewarded in the last couple of months very handsomely for buying stocks? Right? Buying strong stocks too, right? The ones that are working the best. The ones in that coronavirus index. Remember the coronavirus index from like March the 10th or 9th or whatever it was that we came up with that? It was definitely before March 9th because that was the day Biggie died. So I remember being at a bar, celebrating Biggie's life and talking about the coronavirus index. And we must have built it that week before because I was very hyped up about it. DocuSign, Zoom, Regeneron, like all those names were on there. Activision, like these names have been ripping. We were buying the leaders. We've been buying the leaders. Like bank stocks have been kind of disappointing, like there are other areas that have not been working. Remember that bubble chart that I showed you last week, the upper left corner, where it was like social media, internet, biotechnology, software, internet retail, right? All of mobile payments. That corner, that upper left quadrant, basically what it represented is the least amount of drawdown. So the closest to new 52-week highs, number one, and number two, the best return during that market correction in June. So like the relative strength is where the relative strength has been, right? It just kind of reiterated that the names we've been buying have been working. And why are we going to get cute? And then Straz was on the phone with me earlier this week and he's like, JC, man, what am I going to do? I'm going to write another blog post about technology, And I'm like, don't you hear yourself? You need to be aware of your behavior. The fact that you are telling me that, the way you are telling me that is information. The fact that you're just like, what am I going to do? Write about tech again? Yes, because it keeps working.
Yes,
and he just starts cracking up. He's like, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That's what I love so much about your approach to making money in the markets. Is that we as humans, we try to over-engineer and overcomplicate things because we're constantly wanting something new or different. And it doesn't have to be, nor should it be. It should be, where is your money going to be used in the most effective, risk-adverse way with the biggest possible upside potential? And yes, can it be just the tech sector over and over and over again? You know what? Let's hope so. Let's make our lives as easy as possible, make as much money as possible at the same time.
Ultimately, Jeremy, you and I are going to be sitting here and we're going to be talking about how like all of our energy stocks keep doing so great and making new 52-week highs. And maybe that never happens. I don't know. At the rate we're going, probably never will happen. But that could certainly happen. I mean, we buy European bank stocks and stuff like that. But these are all things that we use as information, but we don't really mess with. Imagine a time when we will. Like, that would be so cool. These biotechs have been a mess forever. And now they're all breaking out of basis. So that's another good example. Gold's been a mess forever. The gold miners, now they're breaking out of basis. So like, people who don't know me over the years think I'm like this like perma bull guy, And, you know, all of a sudden I'll just flip and just be like gloom and doom, end of the world. And they'll be like, whoa, I thought you were a perma bull. And then like, I'll be like bearish and sell stocks. And, you know, the newcomers think I'm just one of these perma bears. And, you know, I'm one of these clowns that are always, you know, world's going to end. Market makes new 52-week highs every day, but the world's still coming to an end. You know, one of those guys. And then I'm just like, buy everything. And they're like, whoa, I thought this guy was one of these perma bears. So like, you know, I shock people as they come. And then those people who have been around for, you know, in some cases, decades, they know that I really don't give a shit what the market does. Gold can go to zero tomorrow, and I could not care less. Stock market could double or get cut in half. Now, you know, sure, some of those implications are going to affect me, but because I have no control over it, I don't lose sleep over it. I just try to be on the right direction. So if I'm short stocks, I hope unemployment goes through the roof and the stock market crashes every day for a month. I mean, that's how I'm positioned. So that's how I look at the market. And right now we're buying stocks. I'd like to see the market confirm that we're in the right trajectory. And so far it's doing that.
If you want to be a more consistent trader, if you're looking to find opportunities in any market condition, then you need to learn JC's approach. Again, I'm glad you can see me and hear me, but if my team could drop the link, JC, you put together one of the world's best leading courses on technical analysis, and you break down your approach in a really simple, easy to understand way, produced by an Emmy award-winning director. And yes, and it's amazing. So if my team could drop that link in there, that'd be great, so that everybody can take it. We're giving away the first lesson for everybody so that you can take it yourself, see it for yourself. And so, yeah, check that out, put that in there. And, you know, you guys, I love hearing you get, you know, you say things like, I wish it would go to zero, or I wish it would double in value. That's conviction. And that conviction comes from knowledge and experience. And it's rare to see. It's even more rare to see it actually come to fruition with the trading. If you guys aren't keeping track, I'd love for anybody who is, if you've been coming to these weekly events that we've been putting on, following JC's advice, how has it worked? If it's worked terribly, tell us. If it's worked amazing, tell us. Do it now before everybody jumps off here, so that they can see it for themselves. This is completely unsolicited. This is what they are doing with their money, and we're completely unafraid of hearing their feedback. So let us know what that is. And if you're new here tonight and you want to learn more about JC, there's no better way of understanding his methodology than signing up for that course and starting there, because that'll actually open up a whole new world and a new way of looking at the stock market. And it'll turn you into, I wish I had a better way of saying this, but a believer. Could I say, I don't know how I got to make something fun out of that. I'll think of a better way, but I am and a huge fan, friend, and advocate for JC. So that's why Trade Stocks and All Star Charts has this partnership, is that I personally am a huge believer in all things that JC does, and he's helped me out more than once. So that's my spiel for tonight. Just wanted to make sure everybody ends with that. JC, what are your parting words, my friend?
You know, I've been talking with traders a lot the last few days, more so than usual. Because some other projects that we're working on just has been putting me in touch with more traders. And, you know, one of the things that has been reiterated quite often over the last week is just how important it is to check your ego. There's no place for it here. The ability to admit defeat and then move on is a trait that, as simple as it sounds, is incredibly difficult for a human being to do, no matter how experienced you are as a trader or as an investor, no matter how young or how old you are. I think that these Robinhood gamblers, traders are getting a lot of heat, but the truth is I couldn't be more happy for them. And I truly, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, I hope there's 17-year-olds and 19-year-olds and 16-year-olds that lose it all, gone overnight, and just lose all their money, all $500 of it, or all $1,000 of it from their bar mitzvah or whatever it is. Lose it all. You know why? Because it ain't that much, But because it's everything you have, and because it's everything you've ever made, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt so bad, like it's actual real money, because it is real money to you, and get killed. And learn that lesson young and early. And there's some people watching out there that are like, JC, I'm not gonna lose all my money. I'm not gonna blow up. All right, you should think that, right? And then you will. Then you'll be like, oh, you know what? That crazy Cuban was right. You know, if you, to every successful trader of all time, every single one, not 99%, not 50%, every single one, I promise you from the bottom of my heart, has that story where they blew up. And that is when their career started. Or in some cases, blew up multiple times. And that is when their career started. Because it's not until that happens that you don't get it. And that's a rite of passage. So if that hasn't happened to you, you better hurry up, let it happen so you can get going finally, but it has to happen. And I know some of you are sitting out there like chuckling, be like, yeah, kid's right. He's right. That's exactly how it is. So check your ego out the door. And quite frankly, I'm happy for all these kids stuck at home, opening up Robinhood accounts. I think it's the most American, most amazing thing I may have ever seen in my entire life. I firmly believe that.
Well said. Words of advice and words of wisdom for somebody who's been there and done that. So I'm not going to add anything more. You said it best. Thank you so much, JC. Thank you everyone so much for coming. Bring your ticker symbols to next week's. We will be sure to go through them. JC, you are awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this for our audience. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Be safe and be well, my friend.
Later.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you. Bye.